Hello, folks. I was not planning on doing a true live. Recently, I've had some problems with reacquainting myself to StreamYard, and I did some I guess premieres that showed as a live, or I was doing something wrong. I think I have figured it out, but I do want to talk to you about something that kind of disturbed me today because it could have gone many different ways, and it's still disturbing to me. Let me check this. So what happened was today, I was sitting in the exact same position I am now, and to my left, excuse me for the scratchy throat voice, is my mom's little pond or lake, whatever you call it. I don't know what differentiates a pond and a lake, but I will tell you that there's a waterway between her. My mom's street is a big horseshoe, so the water source is in the middle. So like unless you're Moses and you can walk on water, there's no way for me to get to the other side. And there's a reason why I'm mentioning this, and so I'm trying to delay until we get some more people in the viewing. Hopefully, I'm doing this correctly, and people will have the opportunity to join in. So I hope everybody's having a great day. It's a Saturday. I'm looking forward to watching some football tonight. Hopefully, um, a lot of times I don't do that, but I found a way to do it from my laptop. I think that could be uh, conducive with my goals for happiness tonight. So anyway, I'm sitting here this afternoon. It's saying it's 4:43 uh, this evening right now. I don't know what time it was. I want to say around 12:30ish, maybe one. I don't remember the exact time. I can tell you right now. I can look at the my call records. So bear with me, and it'll give people time to come in. Um, all right, so it says basically like 3 hours ago, I called 911. So that would be, according to it doesn't tell you if it's 3 hours and 15 minutes, just basically says 3 hours. So we're at 4:44 right now, so about 1:45. I know it was longer time than that. Let's just go with 1:30ish, whatever it was. But so craziness. I'm sitting here just in front of this laptop, a little bit of different angle, but in this direction, I hear what sounds to me to be like firearms, like shots. So I hear, and I didn't think much of it, and then I hear. Then after the second shot, I get up, kind of look across the way, and I see a guy in a tactical stance on the corner of his house shooting into his bush. But all these houses in this community, I kid you not, I'm not lying one bit. They're only like 6 yards apart. It's a very nice community, but the houses are built so close to each other, you could almost reach out and tickle your neighbor. So I get up and look, and then I see him with this tactical stance, and he takes about four more shots into the bush. And I know there are some legal exemptions for certain nuisance wildlife animals, like one being the iguana. You can shoot an iguana, but I think I'm trying to do a lot of this research in between trying to get phone calls accomplished. And but I don't think in a gated community like this, with houses that close to each other, it would be a wise decision, or maybe not even a legal decision. So I witnessed that, and I'm very disturbed about it because um, it just bothered me. Hello, Bullets and Barbecue. Uh, so if you guys are new, just joining this, I ran into a problem today where I'm residing at my mom's house temporarily, helping her through her medical conditions, and she's helping me through my Hurricane Ian issues. So a guy across the way, across this pond here, this lake, whatever you want to call it, starts opening up and brandishing a pistol of some form, and he proceeded to take 6 shots. Could have been 5. I thought it was 6. I really wasn't counting at that point. I was trying to focus on, what he was brandishing at that time. So the guy's shooting into a bush on the edge of his lanai. A lanai, for people who are not familiar with Florida terms, I never heard this term before I moved down here, but a lanai is basically like a screened-in porch. So the guy's opening fire on something, and I kept thinking to myself, like, even if you're shooting an iguana, like, what if a kid walked between your house and that target of that bush, even though he was shooting downward? I didn't know what he was shooting, but I know he was shooting something, some type of projectile. So I'm thinking, if you hit a rock or if there's a deflection or something, that and then around the street, the way it curves, there's houses there. So, you know, whatever projectile he's emitting from this weapon, could go into a residence or something like that. And so I was kind of conflicted at first because I was like, man, I don't know, is he shooting an iguana? I didn't see one, but so I call 911. This part. I say it's comical because it's not really comical, but you got to find humor in every situation, especially in the stuff that I always fall into. So anyway, I call 911, and it's ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. And then they say, 911, what's your emergency? I tell them where I live, and they said, hold on. So they, like, I kid you not, it took well over, I'd say, a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes for me to get acknowledgement on the first 911 call. Then they transferred me to the Lee County Sheriff's Department here in Lee County, Florida, and it was going to their call center. And then I was on hold for, I don't know, another minute and a half, 2 minutes. So thank God I wasn't the potential target of something severe. But I do appreciate the Lee County Sheriff's Office. In general, they do a really good job. I just wasn't happy with that quick response at the 911 center. It's there for a reason. So I used to work in a 911 center at the Delaware State Police in Newcastle County, Delaware, for 8 years. So I know how important that can be during crisis situations. So the so I call 911. I finally get through to people. Tell them, and then, like, they're. I appreciate what they do, but, like, the question, I'm telling them right out of the gate, calmly, very calm, without stress involved. What I observed, where I am, because I've been on the other side of the telephone. And then they proceed to ask me, like, all these questions, like, I don't like to be nasty or crappy with people, but eventually I was like, no, no, that, yeah, it was just like, the 10th question was something like, is anybody injured, or something like that. And I'm like, no, I pretty much would have told you right out of the gate nobody was injured. I've already told you what occurred, and it was just a redundant. It was literally like 10 scripted questions they have to ask, but they weren't asked in an appropriate order. So I'm not bashing the Lee County Sheriff's Office. I just think that needs to be a little bit better training. Rather than just going by a script, how about listening to the caller and then responding to the priority of the needs? So that goes on. So then I'm literally, because I told him there was a guy out here brandishing a weapon shooting, and I said he didn't appear to be shooting at people, but I don't know what his mental state is or anything like that. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting for police response. And I probably waited 25 to 30 minutes before I could see on my mom's street is like a horseshoe, and then there was a couple openings, and I could see the emblem of a police car coming this way around this side, and they had actually passed the potential active shooter, you know, house. And then honestly, I kid you not, like three or four houses down from where this is occurring, there's a Lee County Sheriff's deputy that lives there. So the deputy finally comes around, and I made sure I did not have my phone in my hand because I didn't want them to misinterpret the whole correspondence, thinking I had a weapon. I didn't want to get shot, like one of them deals. So I'm trying to be very careful how I conduct myself. So I made sure my hands were visible, and then like I'm waving him over to the house. He parked a couple doors down from my mom's house. He comes over. We start the dialogue. I'm trying to tell him what's going on. I said, let's go on the left side of the house so you can have a better angle of what I've seen. And I started describing what occurred with this gentleman brandishing what appeared to be like a 9mm type um, weapon. But I kid you not, like I'm just chilling. I'm minding my own. I'm supposed to wear glasses for distance, so I did not like have them on. I rarely wear them. I'm not gonna lie, but I could see, when the guy he after the first two shots he took, when I was able to stand up, he had a very tactical stance and was shooting at something in the bushes. So I'm explaining this to the deputy. He's asking me a bunch of questions. Could have been an air gun. I said I don't know. I don't think so. It was very loud. If it was some type of air weapon or something, it'd be the loudest one I've ever heard. And I said I can't tell you one way or the other. He says, do you have any background? And I said I know a little bit about weapons. Yes. I didn't go on and tell him anything about my other background because most people don't give a crap. But so we talk, and then then he leaves, and I guess he meets up with another deputy, and then I'd say about another 10 or 15 minutes later, I get a phone call. It says private number. Normally I don't answer those, and he says, "Hey Gary, this is Deputy Serrano. Um, we're about to enter a backyard. Do you have a visual on us?" And I said, I'm going to open up the back screen door right now. And he says, can you, tell us, if we're at the right residence? So I'm looking out, waiting. It took about a minute, 15, 20 seconds, whatever it was. And I do see them. I said, yes, sir, you're between the correct houses. It's the house on the left. It's a white screen door on your very left. You see the hose there. That's where he took up the tactical stance to shoot whatever he was shooting, all that. And I said, okay, no problem. So then, like, this is where I've done a lot of work and research on officer survival because I had many trooper friends in Delaware when I dispatched for the Delaware State Police. So then they casually just walk around the backyard. Oh, here's the thing that really ticked me off was I was really worried about, like, what if a child had come between the houses or something like that. And that was like one of my main concerns. So as I was waiting for police to take their action, here comes a little child. I couldn't tell from a distance, might have been 5 years old, I don't know, with his father. They end up fishing like literally 15 yards away from where all this took place. So I see the police officers. They go in the backyard. They're kind of just casually walking around like their life was not in danger. And so then I see them. They're like casually talking to the father and son, and I didn't hear the dialogue. But then like later they decide to um, confront the resident of the home. I guess they had a talk. I didn't witness any of that because it happened in the front of the house. And then I get a call about 10 or 15 minutes later. Same thing, private number. I pick up the phone. I talk, and it's the deputy giving me a very nice gesture. By the way, I've had to call in other incidents in the past, and the deputies never really got back to me in any form or fashion. So this was really cool that this was occurring. So he tells me, he goes, yes, we did investigate this, and it appears to be a like an air pistol of some fashion, but it does look very lifelike, like a 9 millimeter or whatever it was. He said, I guess some of the air guns used to have like these uh, certain color pattern on the end to identify it, so people don't get accidentally shot by police or whatever. And they said this one looked very lifelike. It even was engraved with Smith and Wesson on the side and everything. They said it definitely looked very lifelike. And I said that's kind of how I felt from a distance, but once again, I didn't have my glasses on, and due to the tactical stance, I felt it was at least important to report it. So he tells me that. Then basically, I said, look, I said, I know it's legal in Florida to shoot iguanas, but I think there is some stipulation by the FWC that um, you can't be performing that act within so many feet of another residence. And these houses are very close together. So the so he says, well, basically he really didn't want to take any further action. I said, look, if you feel safe with the situation, then I feel safe. I just wanted to report it, do my duty as a citizen. And so he's telling me all this. And so the deputies leave, and 10 minutes later, the guy comes back out the screen door. And now these Muscovy ducks, I had no idea what he was shooting at the first time. I thought it was an iguana. He told the deputies he was shooting at an iguana. Now he is shooting at the Muscovy ducks at Water's Edge, opening fire again, probably 3 or 4 rounds, of whatever that thing is shooting. So now I'm really pissed. So I'm like, oh man, I'm like this. It was pretty much an FU to whoever reported him, which it was me. I would own it in court. I have no problem with that. And then so now I'm really conflicted. Like, how do I do this? I'm trying to call the FWC. I try and call. Not only do I try and call, I do call the Lee County Sheriff's Office. I try to call 9 emergency. So it was a like big mess trying to get in touch with them without calling 911. I didn't want to report something on on an emergency line. I kind of want to just do a backdoor uh, message. So I asked for that deputy to call me. Never happened. So now I'm like really ticked off. And the lady next door is really nice. She loves these. There's all types of wildlife out here. All the neighbors love these guys. It's not just the Muscovy ducks. There's all types of waterfowl out here. I don't know my species of fish, but so so I finally do get through to a person with the FWC, which is the Florida Wildlife Commission. And in the meantime, I'd been trying to research, you know, laws related to these Muscovy ducks and iguanas and like all that stuff. Um, So anyway, I'm glancing down and I do see Bullets and Barbecue. Um, I did call them. You're probably, my screen may have a delay. I'm sorry. I'm not really reading the comments. I'm trying to think about the how this scenario played out to give you the best portrayal of what occurred today. So I'm reading that basically Muscovy ducks are protected federally, if I'm reading everything correctly, from cruel and unusual punishment. The lady, the dispatcher from FWC, was telling me that no, they're considered a nuisance animal in Florida and you can legally, you know, shoot them. Well, to me, like shooting a duck with a pellet or a BB and you're not killing it, to me, that would be considered cruel and unusual punishment. I don't know. Tell me what you think. I'm looking for feedback because I really don't know how to treat this. Like, I, I I'm not trying to create drama. I just think that is very unfair towards nature. So, so here I am. I'm pretty much in limbo. I'm going to look at my phone right here in front of you guys, and normally I put my phone on what do you call that? Airplane mode. I have left it off airplane mode in case I do get a call back from FWC or they may knock on the door. I don't know, but I'm not too confident. Sometimes, like, don't I was a dispatcher. Sometimes dispatchers don't convey the message correctly based on what they think they know, what they think they heard you say. I'm just requesting to talk to an officer to have it investigated further. Uh, and then, you know, I basically I just want them, like, first of all, tell me, is this a Muscovy duck? I'm not a taxidermist. I'm not a wildlife expert. First of all, it's, tell me what these birds are. Can you shoot them? Can you shoot them in this gated neighborhood? I don't know the HOA rules or anything like that. But I think shooting a duck that you're not killing with a BB or a pellet, I don't, I consider that cruel. So if that is part of the federal protection laws, I don't know. I just that's my thoughts. I'm like, I know different people in different regions that have wide open properties like little homesteads and all those Muscovy ducks. I know, I know that can be a nuisance and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm just looking for feedback. I'm not looking for views or watch time. I just wanted to share this because it, it, it was kind of like, I really just wanted to chill out today. I did 2 videos today, and I pretty much wanted to chill out, try and enjoy some other channels. But with all this chaos that occurred, I was trying to do the right thing, and I encourage you to try and do the right thing if you can. And I don't know. Am I doing the right thing? I figure, like, if you make an attempt that you are doing the right thing. Um, so I'm trying to do the right thing. I just wish the correspondence was quicker. When I called all these numbers for FWC and certain other non-emergency lines, they don't work weekends. So you're pretty much like, you almost have to call an emergency number to talk to somebody about. It's not a life-threatening situation. That was probably like question number 8 when I talked to the Lee County Sheriff's Office, through their platform, which I thought was ridiculous. But anyway, so I appreciate you guys. If you don't mind, if anybody has any smarter ways to research this, tell me what you know. If any viewers are watching from Florida that know better than I do, I just, I'm not a hunter. I don't have a beef with anybody that hunts. I just don't believe in cruelty to animals, and especially if a duck is federally protected, which it's, I guess it's up in the air right now. I don't know. So I guess it's open for interpretation either by a dispatcher or an officer. And so I'm gonna chill out right now. I appreciate you guys listening to my little gripe dilemma problem I had today. Um, I'm definitely looking for feedback, and I hope everybody can go out there and support a lot of good channels. Most of you guys know who I support: JJ Drones, Off the Hook Outdoors, Mark J. Larson, and there's a ton of great channels out there. And Melinda Dobson, part two will be coming up, but I feel like I've worn out my welcome for today. So it may be sometime tomorrow, part two of the wedding brawl. I think, Melinda, I called it a rumble, but it was a brawl. So we're going to give you a pass on that one. Peace out, folks. And as Off the Hook Outdoors would say, see ya.